Dear friends, today we'll be starting with the topic of parallel processing system. But before proceeding towards the topic, let us first understand what do you mean by parallel processing. Now, parallel computing or parallel processing is a type of computation in which many calculations are being executed by the processors and they are being carried out simultaneously. Large problem can also be divided into smaller ones which can be solved at the same time. So this is the importance of parallel processing system. Now, where have you noticed parallel processing system getting executed? For example, when a person A sends an email to person B, now the email is being sent to a email ID which you are aware. Simultaneously, my question to you all is, will there be a delay of a person receiving an email on the desktop or on a mobile phone? So will there be a delay of time? If the network is proper, if the connectivity is proper, then the person will receive the mail on the desktop as well as on the laptop and the mobile phones simultaneously. Now, why I am concerned about the connectivity? Because you are aware that there are basically two types of connectivity, wired and wireless. Wired connectivity is your system gets connected via wire. Wireless is your home Wi-Fi system. Your mobile phones are the wireless devices. So this is how parallel processing works. Now, first let us understand what do you mean by parallelism. Parallel processing is a term used to denote simultaneous computation in CPU for the purpose of measuring its computation speed. Now, you would have noticed when you go to an ATM, you insert your card. After inserting your card, it asks you for a PIN number. When you insert the PIN number, if the time goes beyond 5 seconds or 10 seconds, you get an error telling us request timeout or invalid PIN. So why computation is taking place over here? Because the CPU that has been attached to the database which gets connected to your ATM machine is consisting of ALU and the system bus. It is verifying the contents like your PIN number with the PIN number that has been stored onto the databases. The second example, in today's time when you're doing any transaction via the mobile phone, you get an OTP and below there is written that your OTP is valid for 15 seconds or 15 minutes. That is because the data that gets stored into the CPU will get refreshed after 15 minutes. So this is done with the help of computation speed. Parallel processing was introduced because the sequential process of executing instruction took a lot of time. Now imagine, like, if parallel processing was not there, you have executed one instruction, you will wait for the result. The results can be either positive or negative, and after the result comes, then you will start with the next instruction. And this cycle goes on and on. What happens if this cycle repeats continuously? Then your computation becomes complex. It will require a lot of time. So the user will get the desired output, but the time required will be more. And there's a possibility that the output what user requires will not be fruitful for his work. Now, let us understand the classification of parallel processing architecture. Now you have processor organizations. Now processor organizations are being divided into single instruction, single data stream. Then you have single instruction, multiple data stream. Then you have multiple instruction, single data stream. And you have multiple instruction, multiple data stream. Now, what do you understand by single instruction, single data stream? Under single instruction, single data stream, you have uniprocessor. Now, what is the main purpose of uniprocessor? Because the main purpose of uniprocessor is being used for computation purpose. It is also known as uniprocessor computing. Now, as we all are aware that there are many desktops or laptop systems where a single CPU is present, which is responsible for executing all the tasks. Now, a single CPU processes all the tasks because it will be having a single ALU, it will be having a different types of buses which are being connected to it, different type of clock registers that are being connected to it, different types of memory which are being connected to it, but the CPU is single. So in such processes, it is being called as uniprocessor. When it comes to multiprocessor, it will have more than one CPU. For example, if you consider a supercomputer. Now the question to you all is, a supercomputer will be a single CPU or a multiple CPU? Definitely it will be having a multiple CPUs that are being connected to it so that the processing becomes very, very fast. This is the reason where only single instruction is being used for processing of single stream of data, and it consists of uniprocessor. Now let us go to the second one. The second one is single instruction multiple data stream, which we call as SIMD. Now it has been classified into two types. You have a vector processor, you have an array processor. Now, what do you understand by the vector processor? A vector processor is a central unit CPU that implements an instructions set containing instructions that operate on one-dimensional array of data. Now understand the word one-dimensional array that is used for storing of the data, which is called as vectors. Now here it is being compared with the scalar operation. Now scalar has more than one array of data. So here the data which flows in the vector processor is in the form of multiple data streams. So this is the main purpose where single instruction uses a multiple data stream for processing. Now why this is important? Because if you are processing instructions simultaneously, then this becomes a very, very important task. Now the second one that has been attached to it is called as an array processor. And array processor is a processor which is attached for general purpose computer, and its purpose is to improve the performance of computer. Performance, it may be a numerical performance, it may be a logical operation, it can be a multiple task that a computer performs. It achieves high performance by means of parallel processing. Now the third one is multiple instruction single data stream, which we call as MISD. This we will be looking ahead in the further topic in detail. Now you have multiple instruction, multiple data stream. Now multiple instruction, multiple data stream, it has been classified into two types. You have a shared memory, which we call as tightly coupled, and you have a distributed memory. Now tightly coupled means all the instructions of the memory are being shared with the different memories that are being allocated onto the CPU, and it is being called as your tightly coupled memory, or it is being called as your shared memory. Then you have a distributed memory. Distributed memory is loosely coupled. Now what do you understand by loosely coupled? It is in the form of clusters. So there are small clusters which are attached to the distributed memory. Now when you go further, shared memory has been further divided into two types. It is being called as symmetric multiprocessor and non-uniform memory access, which we call as NUMA. Now, what do you understand by shared memory? It is a memory that can be simultaneously accessed by multiple programs with an intention to provide communication among them or also avoid the different copies using memory for communication inside a single program. So it has been called as shared memory. Now, why shared memory is important? You should understand that shared memory plays a very important role, because without the help of shared memory, you cannot do parallel processing. Because whatever processing you're doing parallelly, it requires registers to store the data. So if you are performing a particular operation, but at the same time, you are not able to store the data. So what happens? Your efforts become irrelevant. In such cases, parallel processing becomes very, very important. So parallel processing and shared memory are tightly coupled with each other. Then you have something called as symmetric multiprocessor, which we also call as symmetric multiprocessing. The processing of programs by multiple processors that share a common operating system is called as symmetric multiprocessing. So here a common multiprocessing takes place, and they are sharing the common program. Now, why this is important? Because simultaneous execution plays a very, very important role over here. Now, shared memory tightly coupled. Now it has been divided into symmetric multiprocessor. Now these two play a very, very important role in case of parallel processing. You should remember this: shared memory plus symmetric multiprocessor. Then you have non-uniform memory access. It is a method of conferring a cluster of multiprocessor in multi-processing systems so that they can share memory locally. So you can share the memory locally. And it can also improve the performance ability. And the best part of this is this memory can be expanded. So it is not a static memory, it is a dynamic memory. Then you have distributed memory. Now the memory is being distributed in the different forms, which are being called as the clusters. So clusters are the small allocation of the different amount of memories that gets stored into the systems. Now, what are the different types of modes or the communication mode that exist or play an important role in case of parallel processing? You have a shared memory, you have a message passing, and the mode which is either based on the software model or either on the hardware model. What do you understand by shared memory? Processor communicates with the shared spaces. So the shared memory, as we have seen previously, now the shared memory, here the processor will communicate with all the different operations which are taking place, and it will easy on small scales machines which are being connected to it. Now, what is the advantage of using a shared memory model? Of choices of uniprocessor, small scales, multiprocessing can be done. So you have multiple choices. It is ease of programming. Programming is very easy, low latency rate, and easier to use hardware control caching. Now, it is easy to use, it has a low latency. The best part is it is be a model of choice of uniprocessors, because the memory is shared between the different instructions which are executing simultaneously. Then you have message passing. Processors have private memories which communicate via messages. They require less hardware and it is easy to design. So when you say less hardware, easy to design, automatically the cost of message passing becomes less. It focuses attention on costly non-local operations, and it can support either the software model on either hardware base. So you require a hardware base where it is supporting the software model that are being communicated to it. Now, shared address / memory model. Now, let us see the characteristics of shared address and memory model. It communicates via load and store. What do you understand by load and store? This word can be mapped with either push instruction or pop instruction. When you're pushing the instruction, it becomes load and the instruction gets stored. That is called as push instruction. Now, why this sort of instructions are necessary? Because this sort of instructions are necessary because let us take an example. Does Google or Gmail or your ATM pin ask you a new pin number on every transaction, or it is the same? Mainly it is the same. Why? Because your password is being stored into the database that is called as load, and your password is being stored onto the database, and it is one of the oldest model and it is the most popular model, which we call as load and store or push. You should remember either load and store or push model. Based on time sharing processors on multiple processors versus a single sharing processor. So what do you understand by a multiple processor? Because if the processors are following with multiple instructions, they are executing multiple instructions simultaneously, it is called as multiprocessor. And a single sharing processor, it will share only particular one set of instructions, which is called as a single sharing instructor or a processor. Single virtue and physical address space. Multiple processors can overlap, but all threads share a process address space. Now, what do you understand by the address space? It is the location where your data gets stored. And when you are searching for the data, the CPU internally gets connected with the address bus, and the address bus will find the address space where the data is getting stored. Now, writes to share address space by one thread are visible to read of the other threads. So one thread can be visible for reading the other threads. Now, usual models are share code, private stack, some shared heap, some private heap. Now, let us go and understand what do you understand by share code. Now, share code plays an important role. Now, what do you understand by share code? Share code is placed onto the address space, and it is done with the help of a single thread that has been connected to it. Now, what do you understand by private stack? You should understand that stack is the space where it is being used for storing of the data. This storing of the data can be done in the form of memory. Then you have shared heap. Now, what do you understand by shared heap? Now, shared heap plays a private space for storing of the data. It plays a very important role for storing of the data in the form of the address spaces that are being allocated to it. Now, why this plays a very important role in operating system? Because it stores, or it is the collection of objects that are being used in the operating system and that are being shared with the different sort of instructions. So you should remember, when the shared heap is coming, it may be the different address bus, control bus, and data bus which we are using, and that is being shared with a different instruction. At the same time, you have a private heap. Now, what does a private heap means? It can be a software program which is non-customizable. When the software program is being prepared, the instructions that have been given to the operating system, that also comes under your private heap. So my question to you all is, can you change the format of any instructions according to you? Or can you change the syntax of writing a C program? It is not, because it comes under your private heap. Now, what are the advantages? Shared memory communication model. It is compatible with the hardware, SMP hardware. So, what do you understand by SMP hardware? So, symmetric multiprocessing. It is compatible with symmetric multiprocessing. Symmetric and then M for multiprocessing system. Ease of programming when communication patterns are very complex. So if you have a complex instruction, shared memory plays a very, very important role. It is dynamically executed. It has the ability to develop apps using familiar SMP model, attention only on performance and critical access. So your performance increases, multiprocessing also increases, and multiprocessing plays a very, very important task. Lower communication overheads, better use of BW means bandwidth for small items due to implicit communication and memory mapping to implement protection in hardware rather than in the IO system, that is the input output system. Now it optimizes the use of bandwidth. Now, for example, if you are operating any instruction or processing any instruction in case of a shared memory communication model, now what will it do? It will first process those instructions and it will not occupy or the allocated total bandwidth to that instruction. It will only use the bandwidth that is required for the execution of that instruction, and rest of the bandwidth that is being used is let free so that the other processes which are running simultaneously can go ahead and work on the different sort of instructions which are working. So this is how the complex instructions get executed very fast and the optimization is very, very high. So what do you understand by message passing model? Whole computers, like you have CPU, memory, and the IO devices play a very important role in case of message passing model, which communicates as explicit input-output operation. The sends. Now you should understand there are two types of signal: send and receive. What does send do? It will specify local buffer receiving process on remote computer. So send will send the instruction, plus it will also specify local buffer. Now local buffer is the buffer that is used to store the instructions simultaneously. Now receive, what will receive do? Receive specifies sending process on remote computer plus local buffer. It usually sends include process tag and receive rule on tag. Now synchronization. When send is complete and when buffer are free, when request is accepted and received, wait for the other side. Now as soon as you complete one instruction, that is one cycle gets completed, you have sent the instruction, it has received the instruction. After sending the instruction, receiving the instruction, it has stored the data. Now what does send plus receive do? It will do the following operation. First of all, you should understand memory to memory copy. So mapping is possible with the help of memory to memory copy. With each supplies of the local address, so it will map the local address from where your data has been sent and where your data has been received, and thus pairwise synchronization. So it will synchronize the addresses which are executing simultaneously. Now send plus receive, memory copy, synchronization of operating system even on one processor. So it can do on a multiprocessor system or it can execute it on a single processing system. Now let us have a small history of message passing. Network topology became important because only send to immediate neighbor, because you are sending the data to the immediate neighbor. So first of all, you should understand what is network topology. Topology is a set of rules how you are sending the data. It may be a star topology, it may be a bridge topology, it can be a mesh topology. Typically synchronous blocking, send and receive. Synchronous means it will map the address and then send the data, and then the receiver will receive the data. Later, DMA. DMA means direct memory access with non-blocking sends. DMA for receive into buffer until processor does not receive, and then the data is transferred into the local memory. Now, as soon as the buffer gets uh, transferred into the processor, it will get shifted towards the local memory. Now, SW means software. Later software libraries allow for the communication which takes place into the system. Now you have examples like IBM SP-2, RS, 6000 workstations, and in racks. Now even these sort of communications are taking place when the data is getting stored in the data centers, where a data center is a collection of racks where different sort of data are being stored. Now what are the advantages of message passing communication model? The hardware can be simpler. As the hardware is simpler, the cost reduces, the performance is very high, and it is easier to send initiate communication, which may have multiple advantage. Synchronization is naturally associated with sending message, reducing the possibility for errors introduced by incorrect synchronization. So what do you understand by incorrect synchronization? If the send and receive are not proper, so incorrect synchronization takes place. Communication explicit, simple to understand in shared memory. It can be hard to know when communicating and when not. So how costly it is. Now, explicit communication focuses attention on costly aspects of parallel computing, sometimes leading to improved structure in case of multi-program. So because it focuses on the cost, it will also look into the what are the different possibility of structure that can be used in case of your multi-processor programming system. Now it is also associated synchronization for sending the message and receiving the message and reducing the possibility of error introduced by incorrect synchronization. So when does incorrect synchronization takes place? When you want to transfer the data and the data is not getting transferred simultaneously. So that is a form of incorrect synchronization. So for example, where have you seen incorrect synchronization? For example, you want to send a email from a recipient B to a recipient C. If you have typed an incorrect email ID, what does happen? It will tell you or give you an error. The processor gives you an error that the email ID is not valid. That is an example of incorrect synchronization that has taken place into the system.